Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, Rob and Deb. Welcome back. 2 months. Korea, Japan, and Bali. How fantastic. Hello, Kay. Lovely to see you. Hello, Cotty and John. Fiona. Hi. Good to see you. Let me just do this. Hang on. That's better. Put my lipstick on. It was a bit too shiny. I've been playing around with popcorn, so there's like melted butter and salt and everything all over the place. Yeah, absolutely, Rob and Deb. It'll be great to catch up and compare notes on trips. It'll be fun. Okay, well, it's a very dark night. I've got all the lights on. Hello, Emily and Kevin. Lovely to see you. Welcome back. Box 3. After a little hiatus of 2 weeks, did you all have a nice little rest? Hello, Shell. Andrew, how you doing? Hope you all had a nice rest. Hope you're all thirsty. I certainly am. Have a little sip of water first. I'm quite excited about box 3 of 2023 because we're exploring some wines from the 2015 vintage, which will be absolutely delightful. I'm hoping that Millie has got has found the link. Hopefully she's worked that out because I forgot to send it to her. So Millie, I hope you're good. Otherwise, I guess you're not watching. Hello, David. Hello, Jackie, Zach, Hannah, and Toby. Lovely to see you. Well, it's been a week, Shell. I think it's been a week for a lot of us. It's been pretty tough. I hope it's been an okay week, and I hope that this makes the week better as well. So let's Millie, yay, woo, good on you. Millie helped us with vintage, and now she's helping us with pruning because she can't get enough of Moorooduc Estate, which I think is awesome. Oh dear, the sofa's looking a bit grotty behind me. Richard's lit a fire, but it's also looking a bit sad. I've got Frodo behind me. You can't see him either. Everyone's fallen in a heap. Oh, hi, Fiona. But it's tricky when I tell you to make popcorn for Drinks with Kate. Popcorn's always best when it's just freshly popped. So it's all about getting the timing right. It's like when I tell you to make risotto. It's a bit of a disaster of a thing to make to start right at 6 o'clock, but it's good once it's done. So hello, Penny. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome back. So I've got so many stories to tell you, but let's get into the wine first. Because I had a whole week alcohol-free in Bali, which very, very, my liver liked me a lot for that, and I felt very good for it. But it's also making wine now taste delicious. Oh, Emily, oh no. Hello, Sharpie and Rob. Good to see you. Chardonnay 2015 is what I'm going to say now, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this, get some in the glass. Love the popcorn as well, Penny. Kay has crackle peanut butter and caramel popcorn grabbed from Prince Hotel minibar after Hugh and Hook Top Winery's dinner. Fantastic. So popcorn can be dressed with many flavours. Let me get that in the glass. Fantastic. Doesn't that look beautiful? How cool. 2015. So that wine's 8 years old. And look at the colour on it. It's just beautiful. Not too dark, not too light, just right. Just a lovely mid-gold. I would call that probably pale gold. I hope the Hugh and Hook Top Winery dinner was good, Kate. I'm a little bit snuffly. You'll have to excuse me. I managed to avoid food poisoning, barley belly, COVID, all those things on my holiday. Hello, Sarah. Lovely to see you. And I managed to catch a cold on the plane on the way home, which I've been struggling to shrug off. So I'm a little congested, but I'm very happy to be here. And you can see, look at my shoulders. They're very down, very relaxed. Okay, you've got the Devil Bean Creek 2018. Okay, well, if you haven't bought box 3 yet, then there's still time to buy it. We've still got stock. The 2015 vintage was a beautiful vintage, really lovely, ideal weather. Hello, Anne. Just talking about 2015 vintage. So I highly recommend grabbing the box, whether you've got time to join in on all the Drinks with Kate's for the next. It's going to run over 7 weeks, even though we've only got 5 wines, and it's all explained in the box. But I'm going traveling again in a week and a half's time, and there's a couple of weeks where I'll actually be on airplanes, so there's absolutely no way I can join you even with time differences and all that kind of thing. But I will be running a Drinks with Kate from the UK the first week that I'm away, and another one from, I think I'll be in the UK again the next time I come back to you. Anyway, it'll all make sense, and we'll plan it all out. Alison and Andrew, good to see you. So, got my wine. I've got 2 different types of popcorn. So I did the sweet popcorn recipe that I sent you, which has got the caramel although I don't think I cooked my caramel for quite long enough because I'm not very good with caramel cooking. It's quite sticky. It tastes fantastic. It's got orange rind from one of Mum's little oranges on the tree. So lovely sort of unwaxed oranges. It's got cinnamon and nutmeg and salt in it. So it's quite sweet. I'm fairly convinced that it's not going to work brilliantly with the wine. So as well as this one, and you can see there's not very much left because I made a big batch and everyone at work ate some and then it was almost all gone. So it was very popular. Whether it goes with the wine or not, who knows? So I made another batch because I could. And this one's got lots of butter and salt and chopped up rosemary and Parmesan cheese on it. So I think that will be also rather delicious. Hello, Karen and Joan, enjoying the lovely popcorn. I'm so glad. And the wine does go well with the popcorn, even if you just pop the corn and put a bit of salt on it or a bit of butter on it or a bit of both. It's such a lovely match to Chardonnay, I think, that it's really well worth it. So, as I was saying, 2016. Thank you, Penny. I am feeling very relaxed and fresh, and I feel taller as well. Butter, thyme, salt, and a hint of paprika. Oh, how lovely, Fiona. Sounds good. Sounds good. Pete also suggested that with that Anna Jones recipe with the caramel, a little bit of chili might work quite well. So I am going to taste both types of popcorn with my wine, but I'm going to taste the wine first by itself because that's just the way I roll. So 2015 vintage, lovely. I think someone's watching me in the kitchen and I can hear the feedback and it's very distracting. So whoever that is, can you close the kitchen door if you're going to have me talking in the kitchen as well? It's very weird hearing my voice coming from the kitchen. 2015, lovely vintage. We had sort of 14 and 15. So that sort of collection of years, you had 12 and 13, which we've talked about 12 being quite a cool vintage, lovely classic, and then 13 being a warmer vintage. And then 14 was quite a small vintage, very concentrated, quite different in its character. And then 15 and 16 were a really nice pair. And 15 was that kind of slightly cooler, slightly more restrained, but lovely ripening period. So we had no difficulty during the flowering. Thanks, Pete. With the flowering and the fruit set and things ripening and everything went really beautifully. So 2015 was one of those years that we sort of, people said if you couldn't make nice wine in 15, then probably a good idea to give up the winemaking and try doing something else. And I think that this wine with 8 years bottle age now is in a really lovely spot. So I thought, great time to be looking at the 2015s. We're going to have a whole suite of them over the next few weeks. So that's going to be really fun. Great place to start with some Chardonnay, particularly as I haven't been drinking enough Chardonnay recently. My week off alcohol aside, we're really short on Chardonnay. There's no spare Chardonnay at Moorooduc for us to just drink for our own pleasure. It's all got to be kind of put aside and made sure that there's enough for people to buy and all that kind of thing. We're still selling out. So it's a little bit of a problem. And so I feel a little bit Chardonnay deprived at the moment. So it's very nice to be sharing this with you guys tonight. Now, what are people saying? It is a beautiful colour, Alison. I agree. Karen, butter and salt on the popcorn, nice and simple. Oysters as well. How fantastic. Popcorn and oysters. How awesome. And I don't know if anyone tried the tacos. It looks like quite a full-on recipe with like all the different components to it, and I will make it one day and I'll report back and see whether it's any good, but it sounds delicious. I've kind of read through the recipe a few times and thought I reckon those combinations would work very, very well. But anyway, butter and salt on popcorn and some oysters and some Chardonnay. What more could you want in life? All right. Despite having a bit of a cold and being a little bit congested, I can still smell that wine. It's beautiful. It's got gorgeous, and I think it'll go really well with the buttery and the corny sort of flavours of the popcorn because it's got a little bit of a popcorny, buttery kind of a note to it. I went back and read the tasting note that I wrote for this wine when we released it in 2015, and salted popcorn was one of the things that I smelt and tasted in the wine then. So I'll be interested to see if people are seeing it in the wine there too. Okay. Oysters at the Tricks, good, excellent. Cotty and John are having antipasto platter and caramel popcorn for later. Good. It would be beautiful with the olives and lemon butter in the wine. Absolutely. Excuse me. A little tickle in the throat. Could be popcorn. Could be the cold. Nothing that a little sip of wine won't help. Shell, I know I'm envious of the oyster eaters as well. We might have to do oysters when we open the next Chardonnay in the box. So beautiful. It's got that lovely kind of lemony butter note. It's got that popcorny kind of character on the nose, and then on the palate that lemon rind and salty seawater kind of characters coming through really nicely. As I say, I'm slightly congested, so I'm not tasting as well as I usually do, but I'm really enjoying the sort of the purity and then the layers of that wine as well. Let me taste it with, I'm going to taste it with my sweet popcorn first, which is probably the wrong way around to do it, but this is the one that I made first, and this is the one that I recommended for you guys to make. So I have to go and do the experiment. What I think is going to happen is I think the sweetness is going to be a bit too much, but I think that the spices and the orange rind are going to work really nicely with the citrus character and the spiciness of the wine. So here we go. Oh, yeah. I love the cinnamon. Yeah, it works really well. The wine actually, even though the wine's savoury and the popcorn's sweet, the caramel flavour kind of brings up the citrus flavour of the wine, and the orange in the popcorn works really, really well, again, with those citrusy notes in the wine. And the saltiness of the wine on the finish just really is a lovely juxtaposition against the spice and the sweetness of the popcorn. So actually surprisingly works very well. If you're not a sweet and savoury kind of a person, and you've made this popcorn and you're finding it too much with the wine, then I recommend just popping the popcorn aside and enjoying the wine and then having the popcorn later. But if you've done a more savoury popcorn like I've done here with my rosemary and butter and salt and Parmesan cheese, I think this is going to do really different things. So let me just... I don't know about you guys, but I always get popcorn stuck in my teeth when I eat popcorn. I love popcorn. I hate getting it stuck in my teeth. So if anyone's got a solution to that, that would be awesome. Let me just get rid of the caramel. And the orange. And coming back after there's less of the caramel in my mouth, the orange and the cinnamon spice and the nutmeg spice works. Thanks, Fiona. Works really well with the flavors of the wine. It brings out the spices and brings out the toastiness and the butteriness of the wine. So let's give the more savory flavors a go. I put huge amounts of butter on that. It's absolutely delicious, butter and salt. It makes the popcorn merely just the carrier of all the butter and salt, but it's a very good way to go. It almost tastes like there's lemon rind on the popcorn, and I nearly zested a lemon onto the popcorn. I think that would work really well with this, but it almost doesn't need it because the lemoniness of the wine is kind of working with the rosemary and the salt and the corn flavor and the butter, and it's making the popcorn taste lemony as a result, which is really awesome. Karen, oysters are highlighting the citrus and making the buttery flavors of the wine more subdued, a different aspect of a lovely wine. Yeah, I reckon it would. I think the butteriness on the buttered popcorn will bring up the butteriness of the wine, which is lovely on one hand. And then if you're having sort of the briny sweetness of oysters, and it's sort of it's like a salty sweetness, and it's really hard to describe oysters, isn't it? Because they do have that sweet sort of flesh to them, despite being intensely salty and tasting of the sea. Brings out the lemony brininess of the wine as well, which I think is really awesome. Penny, happy with just the butter? and it does enhance the wine. It's wonderful. And the nice thing about that popcorn is it's so easy. Unless we had this conversation last time we did the popcorn. If you don't have a microwave, it's a little bit tricky. Sorry, Cotty and John. And Peter and Nina, who don't have a microwave, but I made Peter some before he left. So actually, he's still in the kitchen. Anne didn't add butter, just some Parmesan to the popcorn. Quite a good mix. Yeah, I reckon if you've got it, you're probably, the more Parmesan you add, the better, I reckon, in that circumstance. But I think in a way you don't need to double up on the dairy. You can just go with Parmesan, and it's got all that lovely brightness and tanginess and saltiness. It's pretty awesome. For me, the butter was originally so that I could, because I chopped up the rosemary very finely, and I actually put that into the butter before I stirred it through the popcorn, because one of the slight difficulties with these popcorns that you pop in the microwave is that once they're out of the microwave, they don't retain their heat for very long. So you really need to sort of melt that butter and get the flavors into the butter before you pour it over the popcorn to get the flavors through the popcorn really well. But then I grated the Parmesan on the top and then just stirred it all around. So it's pretty self-indulgent. It's really just, as I say, a vehicle for lots of butter and lots of cheese and lots of salt. But gee, it's good. Okay. Kay has a really nice U-Foods chicken and mushroom carbonara. Devil Bean Creek's working well with the popcorn and the pasta. Very good. I think it's one of the lovely things about this wine. And I've got to come back to the wine. Get away from the popcorn. Put that popcorn down, Kate. Get the butter smears off my fingers. Because this wine, I think, really deserves a bit more scrutiny than just kind of squaffing it back to wash down the popcorn. It's a really lovely food and wine match, popcorn and Chardonnay. But this wine is so delicious. As I say, it's 8 years of age. That what if Cotty wasn't going to own up, but we bought Coney Island caramel and Himalayan pink salt popcorn. Not loving it. Oh no! Does anyone remember? I don't know if they still make them, but I remember when I was a kid, one of my favourite things in the world was Lollygobble Bliss Bombs, which was popcorn basically smothered in caramel toffee and probably salt, and they were amazing. And I think they would be in the same way. And I think that probably that Coney Island caramel and Himalayan pink salt popcorn is a fancy version of the Lollygobble Bliss Bomb, and it's probably too sweet for the wine, but probably be on its own quite a lovely snack. Even with Nuttalex, butter popcorn's amazing with this wine. Absolutely. So I don't know how many of you out there have tried Nuttalex instead of butter. I lived with a friend who was dairy free for a long time. So Nuttalex has been part of my life in the past. And it does a very passable job compared to most margarines of doing the work of butter. So I think Nuttalex is always a good vegan version of butter if that's you're looking for alternatives. So Shell, I'm glad to hear that that's working well with the wine. I'm sure it is, Emily. Nuttalex is your best friend. And I think these days Nuttalex is amazing because they've got like 3 or 4 different versions. They've got the coconut oil version and the original version and olive oil version. Alison's having chicken with olives and saffron. Yep, Alison, I think that sounds delicious. And I think that's the thing that, we can eat lollies with wine. We can eat sweet things with wine. We can eat sweet things with savoury wine, even quite grown-up wine. You can match them to sweet things. And I think one of these days we'll come back and we'll do that. We did Pinot Noir and dark chocolate matching, and we matched it with white chocolate as well. We'll come back and we'll look at either one of our Chardonnays or one of our Pinot Gris with different types of chocolates and different types of sweet things, because I think sometimes, and I'm going to say it. It's probably wrong. I'm going to say maybe it's a bit of a girly thing, but it's probably not just a girly thing, because as soon as I say that, then the blokes pipe up and say, no, I love dark chocolate with Shiraz or whatever your little wicked Saturday night on the sofa with a movie kind of special naughty treat is. I think sometimes, matching wine with food beautifully and beautiful kind of savory, grown up, constructed, gorgeous food is amazing. But every now and again, you just feel like drinking some wine and eating some chocolate, or eating some lollies and drinking some wine. And people go, oh no, that doesn't work, because it's not a good food and wine match. If you like it and it works for you, then why not? But I think that popcorn with butter and salt is quite a good naughty treat to have. There's a compromise without going too sweet. Why did I start talking about chocolate and wine? Craig loves dark chocolate with a great red. I'm not surprised at all. And I think a lot of people love that kind of thing. So, it is something that we're going to talk about more. And I think tasting sort of whether it's a commercial caramelized popcorn like what you're trying tonight, Cotty, or the recipe that I sent out that maybe isn't the perfect match to this wine, but is quite interesting. Or I think with a Chardonnay like this, if you're going to try and match a chocolate to it, a white chocolate or a caramel chocolate's going to work much better than a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate. So I think all of those, when you play around with those things, it might not be, and there'll be people like my mother who say, oh, that's awful, because she likes her classic food and wine matches. And I'm sure there's some of you out there who are thinking, why is she talking about wine and chocolate as a match? But there'll be equally some of you out there who are like, oh, thank goodness I'm not being condemned for liking to match wine and chocolate. So I think we've got lots of space for everyone. They both have endorphins, Linda says. So that's absolutely right. You get double endorphins for it. Polly, have you come to say hi? Little Polly. Polly was very sad. There she is. She was very sad that Jill and I went away for a week, weren't you, Pol? And she's still a little bit cranky, but she's getting over it. The two essential food groups, chocolate and wine, absolutely, Anne. And I don't think there's any reason why they can't be enjoyed together within reason. Okay, let's get back to the seriousness of this wine because it's been in the glass for a little while now, and my nose is blocking up a little bit more, so that's really great. Shell, our air-fried Yukon Gold potatoes with high-quality sour cream brings out a floral note in the wine. Yes, orange blossom, perfect. Excuse me, that's horrible. Stop it, Kate. I should have blown my nose again before I started. Anyway, bear with me. That's better. There is an orange blossom note to the perfume on the wine. I think it's really got this beautiful lift to it. Fancy sour cream, I think, Shell, is to die for, and so yay. But yes, I think we've talked about potatoes and Chardonnays being great matches, and you fry them, you air fry them, you bake them, you mash them, you buy them from the fish and chip shop. It all works as a really good match, potato and Chardonnay, because potato is very comforting food. It's got a lot of flavour to it, but it's very starchy, and the starchiness kind of brings out the lift and the perfume and the acid and the citrusy characters of the wine, which is now starting to look really gorgeous. And I'm trying to disengage from my butter, which is smeared all around my mouth and around my glass now. But I do think this wine has a lovely little sort of brown butter kind of a note to it. But it also has that lifted orange blossom. It's got some orange rind. It's got some lemon rind. It's got some preserved lemon, that Moroccan kind of salted preserved lemon character to it. There's something else in there that's quite hard to describe. It's not quite cheesy. It's not quite bready. It's not quite brioche, but it's sort of in that realm. And it's just a really delicious kind of noseful and mouthful of wine. I'm interested that I haven't heard anything from my winemaking team, so I'm not sure if Jeremy's there. I know he's got some wine. Linda's said hello. Yes, Fiona, it's a real umami kind of a note to it. And it doesn't look like anything in particular. It just looks like it. It's very vinous. It's got a real savoury with the marshmallow finish. It's really cute, Alison. I agree. It's almost like a lemon meringue tart, but without the sweetness, because it's got the tartness of the lemon, and it's got the hello, Jeremy. It's got the biscuity, buttery base to it. It's got that lemony kind of a tang, creamy lemon curd character, and then it does have that marshmallowy, fluffy kind of character. Hi, Linda. I know you're there. You've already commented. I appreciate the support. But there's also kind of that spice that you get in a really good sweet potato pie, American sweet potato pie. So it's got that kind of like roast sweet potato. There is a little bit of that cinnamon and nutmeg kind of spice in there as well, but it's just very subtle. So it's all kind of coming. Fiona, you're getting that creaminess now. It's just starting to come. Cotty wants to know if the wine's at its peak or will age much longer. Now, I think it's looking different from how it looked when we first released it. I think it's actually looking better than it did when we were selling it, which is kind of a bit sad. I think that it will, if you've got some in your cellar, it will continue to age very nicely. And no, there's there's none of this for purchase. I'm sorry, we were kind of scrounging around for bottles for staff to take home to join in. And so we're pretty tight on this one. We don't really usually hold back any of the estate wines. Tastes like a duck, Linda. You have to explain that further. Jeremy's working on the smoked trout goat's cheese omelette ×2 currently. Yes, that would certainly keep your hands full. And Millie, you're getting some sake. Yeah, there is a sake-like character to this wine. I agree. It's sort of that. It's slightly ricey, slightly savoury without an intensity of fruit. It's kind of got this kind of nice, refreshing kind of note to it without it being lots and lots of fruit or lots and lots of heavy flavour. The flavours are still quite light and complex, but hard to define. The wine enhances the roasted garlic. Oh my God, it would make roasted garlic taste so delicious. I totally agree, Shell. I think that would be gorgeous. More like the McIntyre than estate Chardonnay. Yes, Linda, you spelled duck with a K, which confused me. I was thinking roast duck, stir-fried duck, duck in a pancake. Turnips from the vineyard included, Jeremy, in your omelette. Well, possibly. I'm not sure whether. Do you know what? I've actually got a fabulous pickled turnip recipe that we're going to have to kind of employ here at Moorooduc to deal with the turnips in the vineyard. So if anyone's looking for pickled turnips at any stage in the near future, we might have to have a little pickled turnip fest. This wine's almost got. Now I'm going to say another one of my crazy things that everyone goes, what? And it might be because I'm thinking about the turnips in the vineyard. I'm thinking about the daikon in the vineyard. There's a slight kind of radishy kind of a tanginess going on the nose here. It's vegetal, but without being green. It's kind of like white vegetables. I can't really describe it very well. I was going to say, what's it called? I was going to say wasabi, but it's not quite wasabi because it's not hot, but it's got that kind of spicy. I think daikon radish might be not such a bad sort of little savoury descriptor. Turnip and smoked hock soup in the top right corner of the burner sounds pretty good, Jeremy. Alison, fight me. I love pickled turnips ever since I had my first late night kebab in Turek Road in the late 80s. Okay, Alison. Well, we probably should have had a pickled turnip off while you were living down here at Moorooduc, but there's still time. It's fine. We'll get that all happening. Don't you worry. in the meantime, I do think this wine would actually work quite well with pickled turnips and maybe a bit of kebab on the side as well, but it might have to be more white meat than lamb. I don't think I quite finished answering Cotty's question about whether this wine has hit its straps or whether it's going to continue to improve with age. I think that this wine probably will continue to improve with age, but I really don't know for how long. It's one of those strange, how long is a piece of string kind of a question. Hello, Dice. Talking about radish. I know it's weird to come in at the end of the conversation and be hearing about radish. I was finding a little bit of, we're talking about all the complexity of aroma and flavour in this wine, Nareem. And I was saying there's kind of an umami, savoury kind of character, getting little sort of prompts from the audience. And I kind of came down on maybe some grated daikon radish, something like that. It's kind of got this kind of white, slightly spicy, slightly watery, but deliciousness to it. It's hard to describe. Okay, Alison, you may have met somewhere in that vicinity. Excellent. Yes, the old pickled turnip on a very good kebab is unforgettable, no matter when or where you have it. But yes, pickled turnip also, I discovered, is very good as a sort of a little something to nibble on while you're having a glass of champagne or a glass of 2015 Chardonnay. So maybe we'll do that one of these days, but I'm going to have to send you the pickled turnip recipe a couple of weeks ahead of time because it takes a little while to sort of be ready to eat. So we'll work on that. What have I missed? Leonie. Yes, moments. Absolutely. Look, this wine. I think this wine is beautiful, and I think there is. For me, there's a real consistency in our Chardonnay. There's a little bit of vintage variation every year, but I think in my heart of hearts, I love to drink these wines when they're around sort of 5 to 10 years of age. This wine's 8 years old. It's right in the zone. It's so delicious. If we could afford to hold the wine back for 8 years before we release it, then we would. Half the world wouldn't understand what we were doing anyway, and we'd be taxed out of existence by doing that. But I do think it's a really good argument for, if you've got some cellar space, to buy some Chardonnay to drink now and some Chardonnay to put down for at least 5 years, because I really think that 5 to 8 years of age is a really good place to be seeing this wine. And I think this wine tonight is absolutely backing me up on that. Bamboo shoots, Linda, absolutely. There's some bamboo shoot character, maybe a little bit of young coconut, not too coconutty, just that kind of salty, saline kind of gentle kind of smell and taste. So I might be still channeling a little bit of barley and a little bit of the yoga retreat, because I drank a lot of coconut water out of young coconuts in the last week, and it was fabulous. And there is something about green coconut water and Chardonnay that both make me happy in very different ways. But in my weird, twisted brain, there's a little familial kind of resemblance somewhere there, that little salty, sweet. Who knows? I could be going mad, but, whatever. Let's go with it. All right. So how's your food going, everyone? How's your popcorn going? Mine's getting cold because there's always too much popcorn to eat when you're talking, which is nice. I do think grating things and melting things and pouring things over popcorn is a wonderful thing to do as far as a little snack to go with a special wine. I am going to be sending you out some more interesting recipes in the next few weeks. Next week, I haven't looked at what wine we're tasting next week. I'm wondering if any of my team are able to tell me, but I'm going to keep talking while I look it up on my phone, because that's the kind of multitasker I am. Moorooduc Estate. Yeah. Drinks with Kate, but pack 3, that's what I'm looking for. My phone knew. Week 2, the 15th of June, which is next Thursday, Robinson Pinot Noir. Thank you, Anne. Anne got there before me. Robinson Vineyard 2015. This is going to be awesome. Craig has Pinot next in the rack. Absolutely, Karen. Now, Karen, I hope Craig will be able to join us next week. I was also going to say that if on the couple of weeks that I'm not able to run tastings, so we're going to be getting together next week on the 15th of June, and then the following week I'll be in the UK, but we can do McIntyre Vineyard Pinot Noir together. It'll be something o'clock in the morning for me then, but that's okay. I can cope with that. That would be lovely. But then we have a break of a week, and then we come back on the 6th of July, looking at Robinson Vineyard Chardonnay. I'll be back in the UK by then, so that'll be fine. And then we have another week's break because I'll be flying back to Australia that Thursday. And then we come back together on the 20th of July for the Moorooduc Estate Pinot Gris 2015. So Kay and Craig, who's not here tonight, if you'd like to do a tasting, or if anybody else would like to do a tasting on those 2 weeks that we're having a break, let me know. I'll send out the details to everyone and they can join you. In the past, we've done it that one of the guys has recommended a wine style, and you've selected a bottle yourself, and then you've just had a little drink together. So let me know. Other than that, I think it's going to be fun because we're going to be all over different places, and I'll have my gorgeous English friends with me at least in 2 weeks' time, which will be awesome. Jeremy has got some 2 cents to share with us. 2015 gave mild conditions but beautiful phenolics in both red and white. This has got brightness, and the best bit for me, a beautiful frame and structure to this white wine. And that makes it rather special. Thank you, Jeremy. I think that sums up this wine really nicely. Those cool, mild conditions just give us a real kind of finesse and elegance to the wine. It's allowed the wine to age really beautifully and elegantly and specially. And I'm sad that there's no 15 left to sell to you guys, but I'm really glad that we had a few bottles that we could share together. So I'm going to leave it at that because I'm starting to get a little bit clogged up. It could absolutely do another 5 years, Jackie, but if you've got a few bottles in your cellar and you want to drink them now, they're drinking really, really nicely. So it's up to you. I mean, you're going to lose fruit and gain more savouriness with time, but it could absolutely do another 5 years. And your homemade vermouth worked out really well. Killer gin martinis, fantastic, good work. One of these days we'll have to get you on as a special guest to talk about how you make vermouth at home for gin martinis. I think that would be awesome fun. Guys, I'm going to leave you before I sneeze all over the place. It's been awesome. Thank you so much. Excuse me. It's been ace. I'm going to go and have a sneeze, and I'm going to be back to my completely healthy and completely chilled out self next week. Keep my shoulders down, keep doing my yoga, drink just the right amount of really good wine, eat really good food. I think we'll all find balance in all of that. Been awesome, guys. See you next week with some Robinson Pinot. Love you all. It's been great being back. Take care. See you soon, guys. Shell. I know butter gets everywhere, but it's okay because it's delicious. Go and eat your buttery popcorn. Thanks, everyone, and cheers.